We're going to take a look at a video that came across my feed yesterday titled The Brutal Truth About Multi-Cruise Ships in Star Citizen. There are three things I love about this video: the topic, the delivery, and the third one you will not guess, which I will reveal at the end. It's a good thing, and I'm kind of impressed by the way this is going. But let's start this off, and it comes to us from
it's funny.
a channel called Nova Citizens, 877 subs, small channel, but growing nicely. Let's begin.
Every sci-fi movie or show we've grown up watching, when a big ship shows up with gun turrets blazing, smaller ships scatter like roaches when you flip on the kitchen light. But
All right, so for those who may be new to this game and don't know, there's the big ship meta. Well, it's like, is it a meta even? You've probably seen content from Avenger 1 and Buzzcut Psycho who've discussed this in depth. And the problem is, the big ships are just big floating piñatas that get wrecked by any small fighter ship with a pilot that's pretty decent, can take out large ships. The balancing, I understand the CIG's problem with this. The balancing is tough. I mean, you got to reward good pilots, but also, is every big ship just useless against small ships? Like the Hammerhead is useless against small fighters. That shouldn't be. It should dominate the field against small fighters. And this is the topic being addressed here. Let's play some of this in comments.
jump into Star Citizen right now completely backwards. That massive, gorgeous hammerhead you spent weeks grinding for, or God forbid, actually spent real money on, might as well be a piñata when light fighters show up. And they're not even bringing blindfolds to the party. The dream we all bought into, commanding a massive vessel with friends manning turrets, calling out targets, working together like we're on the bridge of the Rocinante or Battlestar Galactica. Turns out that fantasy crashes harder than the game client during Jumptown.
And it's half true. I think it's a lot of fun getting to combat in a large ship. Everyone's shouting and screaming and trying to land on targets. It's difficult. I feel it can be, and this is going to make people like Buzzcut Psycho and Avenger 1 cringe. I feel they can dumb it down a lot more for the big ships. I feel that the PDCs and the turrets should be able to hit things a lot easier. Taking a big ship into a fight shouldn't automatically make you the piñata everyone goes for. There should be some survivability, and there should be a threat to the smaller ships.
Look, we've all been there. You finally convince 5 friends to log on simultaneously, which feels like herding cats on its own. Everyone excitedly piles into your shiny hammerhead. You're assigning turret positions, checking comms, feeling like a proper captain, and then some lone Gladius pilot shows up. And suddenly, it's just embarrassing. Your gunners are frantically spinning turrets, trying to track this mosquito that's zipping around, landing shot after shot on your hull, while you're all collectively hitting nothing but vacuum. And the whole time, there's this sinking feeling in your stomach. Because deep down, you know.
I don't know. There's no sinking feeling. I mean, most of us who play this game for over a decade now are used to it. But look, the large ship part of the gameplay is something which I do not feel there'll be an easy solution for at all at any time. A large ship will always be at the mercy of a whole bunch of smaller ships. And this is the question a lot of us have when we take out the large ship. Is it better to take out 4 or 5 people in a hammerhead, or is it better to just take a whole bunch of light fighters? And more often than not, light fighters is the correct answer. So when will you, or when should you, take out a larger ship?
Let's talk about what's actually happening here. Star Citizen's multi-crew combat has a fundamental imbalance that makes no sense either from a gameplay or simulation perspective. The Hammerhead, a ship literally designed and marketed as an anti-fighter platform, consistently fails at its
Have you guys figured out what the third thing is that I like about this video yet? I know some of you are probably hearing it. Some of you maybe.
job. It's like buying a bug zapper that electrocutes you instead of the mosquitoes. Technically speaking, the issue comes down to a completely backward threat to value ratio. In almost any other game, or in logical military thinking, putting multiple players in a coordinated unit creates what's called a force multiplier. The whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. That's why militaries have tanks and aircraft carriers, rather than just giving everyone a rifle and saying, good luck. But in Star Citizen, the opposite happens. Putting 6 players in a hammerhead actually makes them collectively weaker than if those same 6 players were each in their own arrow or gladius.
Exactly. So I and I don't mean to rain on anyone's parade here, but I do not think there will be an amicable solution to this ever. There'll always be ways to go around it. Now, even if they give it more armor, and even if they give the Hammerhead better weapons, at which point will it become OP? And at which point are light fighters useless, which causes people to complain, and they rebalance it? There's never going to be a perfect balance in this. So, as bad as this may sound, I don't expect CIG to actually find a perfect balance for us in this at all. I always think it's going to be very situational. I always think that you'll have to just pray that one of the pilots in the Gladius is not an ace pilot and doesn't know what he's doing. You know what? It's a difficult situation as far as game balancing goes. I mean, look at games who've been around for 25 years like Eve. They still balancing Eve. There's always, well, I haven't checked that game in like 15 years at this point, but when I was playing, they were always changing the rotational speed of that and the rotational speed of this weapon, and it was constant and ongoing. So I don't expect them to come out of the patch and go, this is it, we've balanced everything, it's done. It's always going to be in flux. It's never going to be perfect.
Actually that complex or difficult to implement. It just requires CIG to make bold, decisive changes rather than the incremental tweaks they've been attempting. Looking back at Star Citizen's development history, we've seen multiple iterations of combat balancing. Remember the 2.6 jousting meta? The 3.10 decoupled superiority phase?
There was a patch where they doubled the speed of everything. And in my opinion, well, they've slowed it down now again, but that didn't make sense to me at the time because I kind of liked the slower combat. And it just went from slow, kind of methodical to simple jousting because everyone was flying around and whizzing around at super speed. That was a weird decision to make. CIG doesn't always make the correct decisions. More often than not, they mess up, but then they rewind that and go backwards on it and fix things, which is what they've been doing in recent patches.
Now we have master modes. Each update shifted the meta in different directions, but none have ever properly addressed the fundamental multi-crew imbalance that's been there since day one. What needs to happen is a three-pronged approach, with all these changes working together. First, turrets need dramatically increased projectile velocities. I'm talking at least double, possibly triple what they currently have.
I agree. If you're in a light or medium fighter and a hammerhead drops in, you're in trouble. You should be in trouble. If there's 3 of you in light fighters and there's a fully crewed hammerhead, it should not be a question of who's going to win. That hammerhead should wreck.
The exact same S4 weapon is mounted on a turret versus on a fighter. The turret version should fire significantly faster projectiles. And this makes perfect sense in universe. A massive ship has exponentially more power generation capacity than a small fighter. These aren't handheld weapons. They're connected to capital-class reactors that should be able to dramatically boost their performance. Second, the turret targeting and assistance systems need a complete overhaul. The current auto-gimbling is basically worthless against any target moving unpredictably. What we need is a more advanced lead indicator system that can better predict enemy movement patterns and provide gunners with more accurate targeting solutions.
That might be tough. I mean, those of you who know how to wiggle around the stick and cause the lead pip to go all over the place, there's always going to be people who find a way to game the system. That might be tough. What I think CIG might do is just the auto aim that some ships have will just be deadly accurate, and it might not have to be for with big weapons, but for smaller weapons, I think light and medium fighters should be at risk when you come close to a big ship.
This wouldn't be a full aimbot, just better tools to make manual aiming more effective at the ranges that combat actually happens. Third, and this is the game changer, large ships need effective area denial capabilities. Imagine specialized ammunition types for capital ship turrets.
And this brings us back to the reason why many of us backed this, because Battlestar Galactica, the TV series, was coming to an end as Star Citizen was just kicking off. And what they did there was use flak in the big space battles. As soon as the big ships drop out and the small fighters come in, they launch a huge flak wall, just basically exploding everywhere. And if you're a small ship and you come near that, you are dead. So I think at the moment that would melt all your video cards if that was happening. But some kind of flak area of denial around large ships would be amazing if CIG went that direction.
Flak rounds that create damage spheres on detonation, EMP charges that can disrupt fighter systems within a certain radius, or even guided submunitions that can track targets after initial.
This is me, and actually, it's most of you also. I thought I was the one. See, this is what we looked like. We had beautiful brown hair. Look how beautiful we are. I mean, the hairline's coming. That's basically me if I had a beard.
Large ships need effective area denial capabilities. Imagine specialized ammunition types for capital ship turrets.
I've been waiting so long for Star Citizen to finally come out.
Guided submunitions that can track targets after initial firing. This would create actual danger zones around capital ships, where fighters would enter at significant risk, forcing them to make meaningful tactical decisions rather than just orbiting.
Right, so you got his main points there, and I completely agree. And I do feel CIG is going to be pushing towards that direction because they want people to use their $1,000 ships that we bought. And it's frustrating right now, but again, patience, it will come around. So, did you guys figure out the third thing I love about this video? And it's probably the most impressive thing I like about this video. And if you listen carefully, and I'll unmute.
Newer players just getting into multi-crew ships, understanding
the voice is flawless. The delivery has no hums, ums, or buts, or coughs, or sneezes. It's AI generated. And I went through the first 2 or 3 minutes of this video going, can it be? And then I was like, yeah, it is. And I was so impressed because I'm pretty much on top of the whole AI story. I keep up with it. And the
is crucial for managing expectations.
The inflections, the pauses, the kind of, you can almost hear the voice, it's faceless, smiling in the background. And I watched the first 2-3 minutes ago. That is good. That is great. But can I confirm this? So I said, no, let's take a look at a previous video he made. And this is back in a year ago. And so listen to the voice here.
Greetings, esteemed citizens. Let's delve deep into the ever-evolving cosmos.
Obviously AI generated, but the technology has got to the point now where I guarantee 95% of you watching this would not have a clue that was AI generated. Now, I've got no problem with the voice being AI generated. I do believe this content creator is in Europe, and so it's very likely his English might not be perfect, or he doesn't speak with a proper North American or English accent, which is fine, but it's tough as a content creator when you are European. And maybe English is your second, even third or fourth language in some cases. The audience you're trying to reach is very, I don't say used to, but you are used to people speaking with North American accents or possibly other accents which are more pleasant to hear as opposed to, I don't know, what's a bad accent? So European content creators might have a tough time getting the content across, but when you can put your content together and then have AI speak like this.
Focus on PvE content for now. NPC fighters follow
I think it's a wonderful way to get more content pushed to us. I am trying to think, have you ever gotten yourself any kind of content pushed to your timeline or recommended to you by the algorithm with a guy with a Spanish accent or a guy with a French accent or a guy with a German accent? I think Nova Citizens is in Switzerland. I'm not sure which part. But the thing is, as soon as you hear someone, if you're in North America mostly, and if you hear someone speak with a different accent, you don't really tune in as much as you should. And so I love the fact that he's taken technology, he's using the AI to get his ideas across and push his content through, which is obviously doing well now. Take a look at this video, 13,000 views. He would not be able to put this content out if it wasn't for AI voicing it.
And aren't exactly pushing for changes. There's literally a running joke on Reddit about hammerhead.
I'm curious to know how much of this content he wrote. Obviously, he prompted to fill in some gaps maybe, but there's a lot of very Star Citizen specific information in there that I don't think AI will know exactly. But overall, I'm very impressed. The video itself, very well done. I'm very impressed with the AI speaking in there, which I think most of the people in the comment section would not even guess that's happening. But anyway, overall, hats off to you, Nova Citizens. Very nicely done. And give me your thoughts on this topic. Where do you want to see the big ship meta going? I think he nails it absolutely correct. I think the large cannons on the ship, the turrets on the ship need to be much faster, and they need to be able to hit a target. If you're aiming at something, that target must get hit, especially in the hammerhead versus light fighters. The larger ships, yeah, look, if you're taking out your Idris because you want to go solo box deliveries, it should be a risky thing to do. But the smaller ships should be totally getting wrecked by ships like the Hammerhead. And I think larger ships also, the automatic turrets, should be able to keep smaller light fighters at bay at least, and not make sure you get destroyed. But that's my thought on the topic. Give me your thoughts, what you think, your comments below. And if you like my content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.